Hi, everybody. We're live. If it's 2 o'clock, it is Immigration Updates with Kuck Baxter. I am Elizabeth Mathern. I am your attorney down in the South Georgia office. I am in Adel, Georgia, beautiful Adel, Georgia. It's a warm, sunny day down here today. We are halfway between Tifton and Valdosta, right off I-75, which is almost to the Florida border. We are in Georgia. And we are near some of the detention centers down here. You may not know, but there are over 5,000 immigration detainees in Georgia. And most of them are in South Georgia. So that's where I am. We serve Folkston, Stewart, used to serve Irwin, but it's closed now. So that is the pulse on what's going on down here in South Georgia. So today I'm going to talk to you about all the immigration law updates that I know of. I also, can't neglect to recognize that today is Veterans Day. I'm very proud and excited to be talking with you on Veterans Day. We have some things we can go over regarding veterans naturalization. I can update you on that. You may not know that there are some special laws under which veterans can naturalize that include no fees and also a shorter look-back period. Hi, Alex. Thanks for joining. Nice to see you. Please feel free, people, post your questions. I'll try to get to them. I've got a few updates I can give you and stuff like that, and we can talk about special provisions for veterans to naturalize and also get to your questions, so feel free. All right, I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see. All these years of staring at computer screens have really damaged my eyes. Hi, Sardasht Tahir. Okay, what is the condition of KCC? Why is there very few documentary qualified emails? Your guess is as good as mine right now. I blame the government. I mean, I don't understand what they're doing. I'm not your point person for the litigation and diversity lottery up to the minute information, but I do know that the cases that I've seen, they've just stalled and the government's sending emails basically saying, like, once we have guidelines regarding the litigation orders, we will release them. So everybody's kind of in a holding pattern waiting to see what the government's going to do. It's a very frustrating situation, but at least it's moving in the right direction. I know everybody is stressed about it. Diversity Visa 2023 closed. When was it? I guess it was this weekend or last week. So we'll be seeing how that process is under the Biden administration. In the meantime, we'll just have to continue watching for updates on how KCC is going to work and Department of State is going to process these applications. So, all right. Thank you for the questions, folks. Keep them coming. I'll answer them as we go. In the meantime, and don't hesitate to tell me where you are or hello. If you want to add those likes and those little hearts and stuff, that's awesome because I think it bumps up alerting people that we are actually live. So I'd appreciate that. And of course, if there's anything in our Facebook Live that you find particularly helpful, don't hesitate to like and share the video with someone who you think might be able to benefit from it. So, of course, you can always talk to us in detail about your own personal cases, which I don't necessarily recommend posting a ton of personal information in the questions or the comments. But you can always reach out to us for initial consultations, which is an individual meeting with an attorney to talk about the specific facts of your case. And it's pretty easy to book those, I have to say. You can call if you use the phone, if you like to use the phone. This is the number to the Adel office, which is 229-472-5775. You can also, of course, go onto our website or our Facebook page. I think there's like a book now, and choose who you want to meet with, and you can just book a consultation right there online. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty seamless. I get the alert that you're on my calendar, and it works really well. So, all right, let's jump in and let me give you some updates about what's going on. Oh, I see Hamza is asking about updates on DV 2020. No updates at this moment from me. I think we're just watching to wait and see how these are going to be processed in light of the court's rulings. Okay. All right. So on everybody's mind is, I mean, it's on my mind, immigration reform. Oh yeah, Alex posted about that. So what are the chances of immigration clauses in the Build Back Better being passed? I don't know. I mean, I'm not a fortune teller. I remain hopeful. I always try to remain hopeful. I always try to be cautiously optimistic, you know, reasonably and educated optimism is something that I believe a lot in. So I think that, you know, it's looking okay. The Democrats are in a position that they put themselves in time and time again, where they're trying to sort of please everybody, and they're making, you know, different wings of the party are making really staunch demands that contradict with sort of what the American people as a whole have expressed. So 75% of the nation supports a path to citizenship, yet that's off the table. So what do we have? We have right now just, I say just, but it could still help a lot of people, you know, to be able to have documentation and live outside of the shadows, which reduces a sort of market for undocumented people to be targeted for not being paid fair wages or being victims of crimes or overuse of the criminal justice system against them. So what we're looking at right now is potentially a parole program, which is a 10-year work authorization, protection from removal. I'm thinking of it very similarly to how DACA is structured. Doesn't really give you anything in and of itself except for a period of time where you kind of know that you're not on the government's radar for removal or being put in immigration proceedings or anything. But if they didn't have your information before, you will be giving them your information. So I don't know if that's going to pass. I hope it does. Of course, I would definitely order something different. If it were my choice at the restaurant to order what we were going to get, if anything, I would 100% be more in line with a path to citizenship for a lot of people. But the other thing that we're thinking is, I wonder if this will be like DACA in the sense that you could request advance parole for people who did not have that lawful entry or an entry with inspection. Go out on advance parole, come back in, and regularize your status through an immediate relative petition, like marriage to a U.S. citizen or an adult U.S. citizen child. So that's yet to be seen. We really don't know. The other thing is, it's still got in there high-skilled scientists and engineers, something about high-skilled workers having a path to something, and raising fees. I'm going to give it, if I just have to pull a percentage chance out of the air, I want to say 60%. 60% chance that it could pass or be included in what's passed. I saw yesterday, late in the day, that Kyrsten Sinema expressed support for the immigration provisions in BBB, but the other part of her statement was, but she recognizes that there's certain limitations to what can be included in this bill. So I don't know. I think she's probably getting a lot of pressure from constituents, maybe both ways, but I don't know. So I don't feel like that was a full unmeasured expression of support. So unfortunately, that to me kind of reduces the chances that it'll get passed, because if they can't get the 50 votes, then it's dead in the water. But, we're still at the point where we're trying to figure out what the parliamentarian's going to do. And then if the parliamentarian doesn't agree to it, then what are the Democrats going to do? Are they really going to just let this go? I think that would be, in my opinion, politically the wrong choice. Okay, so any other questions, feel free to post them. Let's go through the just other immigration news real quick. As you might have heard, the Biden administration is now sort of shifting a little bit about COVID requirements. So you have to have a negative pre-departure COVID test or documentation of recovery from COVID-19 for all arriving air passengers as of November 8th, which was last week. Or maybe it was Monday. All my dates are really kind of running together a little bit. Yeah, I think that was this week, actually. All right, so the Department of Labor responded to the request to raise the cap for fiscal year 2022. You might have seen that there was a big settlement with a construction company who failed to properly recruit U.S. workers as part of some hiring that they did. They had to pay a $40,000 fine. So complying with the requirements of hiring foreign workers is very technical and very important. Otherwise, your business can face pretty strict penalties. Okay, another big thing that happened yesterday was there was a class action lawsuit that reached a settlement regarding employment authorization for spouses of L1s and spouses of H-1B visa holders. So the long and the short of it is my understanding that H-4 and L2 derivative people are going to be eligible for work permits automatically. So there was something in that settlement about L1 visa holders, spouses getting a work permit automatically. So that was pretty good news. That was litigation done by one of our colleagues. Several firms are working on that type of litigation. Our firm just filed an EAD, employment authorization document suit as well. So that's out there. We should hear updates about it sometime soon in the future. Now, seeing that it is Veterans Day, I want to talk a little bit about something that a lot of people don't know about, which is that veterans have some special benefits written into the law for naturalization. So people and one of the main benefits is that they don't have a filing fee if they meet requirements. Victoria, very interesting. Hepatitis B, I don't think that has to do with immigration. So I'm gonna take that comment off, but thank you. Have a nice day. All right, back to veterans. We really are grateful for veterans who serve and protect us. And there are many, many immigrants and children of immigrants who serve in our nation's military in service to our country, whether that be in active duty or National Guard. So I think if you do a research on who's won the most Purple Hearts and Bronze Stars and these types of really impressive medals, you will find that immigrants rank extremely high in being recipients of these medals of valor and bravery. So we're very grateful for the contribution that immigrants make to our military service. And part of the way, I guess, that's been codified into law is by providing veterans with a way to naturalize more quickly, but also without a fee. A lot of people know that, and you have to, have served and all of that. You have to have maintained certain physical presence requirements and have good moral character. But if you have served in periods of hostility, which is like combat veterans, then you have additional benefits. You can apply, obviously, with no fee, but there's a shorter look back period, and the laws are just a little bit different. So those periods of hostility, it has certain dates, and I'll just try to summarize them off the top of my head if I remember what these dates are for. So I think it's Afghanistan, September 11th, 2001 to present. The Gulf War, which is August 2nd, 1990 to 91, April 91. Then it looks like Vietnam, Korea, and World War II. It doesn't have like the conflict, it just has the dates. So I took AP US history, so I think I got all those right. We'll see if anybody has contradictions. Okay, I'll take a break from talking about veteran naturalization. Let's take a question real quick. All right, hi, I'm applying for a U visa in 2018. I'm still waiting. What if the U visa in this new bill of reconciliation, what happens the U visa in this bill of reconciliation? What happened for the promises? Oh, yes. I had forgotten about that promise to increase the U visas. That seems like it would be such an easy thing to do. Just change the number. And finally, when we get the work permit in 14, they say BF when they start to give work permit. Thank you. Okay, I'm trying to decipher your question. It's a little bit hard to understand, but I'll do my best. So it's my understanding that the U visa stuff is not in this current version of the Build Back Better immigration portions. And I had forgotten about that. That was going to be an amazing boon to moving all of these U visas. It was going to cut the time in a third, the processing time in a third. As far as getting your work permit, I'm wondering if you have the approval, you know, that you are, gosh, the word's escaping me, but I wonder how far along you are in the U visa process, but you should be pretty far along. And I know that we are trying to get work permits for people with long pending U visas, and that's been working. So reach out to our office and let's see if we can help you get a work permit. In the meantime, I don't think Build Back Better is going to help you really with that. Now, in a way, how could it help someone with a U visa that maybe they just filed? U visa doesn't really help you in the immediate. Let's say this parole thing passes. That could be where you would just file and get your work permit. It might move more quickly, and the two types of relief would not be contradictory, like, you know, having different intents or anything. So you could probably have both processing at the same time, have that 10-year parole while your U visa processes. Your U visa then gives you an admission and a path to permanent residency and citizenship, as long as you meet all the requirements of like not getting into any trouble and staying here for the requisite period of time and filing for your green card on time. So potentially that could work really well in tandem, right? As part of a bigger global strategy of using both of them at the same time. So that may be something you want to do. I think we're going to see a lot of that if this passes, if this parole thing passes. We're going to have to strategize about how to use that in tandem with other types of applications. So thank you so much for the question. That's awesome. And yeah, we just got in our comments our website, but it's misspelled. So it's easy to find us, www.immigration.net. If you want to take a look at anything about us, where we are, there we go. Thank you. If you want to take a look, schedule a consultation. It's easy to schedule a consultation with us. Very, very easy. You can just call Here's the South Georgia office, 229-472-5775. That's how you can schedule a consult with me, Elizabeth Mathern. Even though I'm in South Georgia, I work with clients all over the country, in fact, all over the world. So feel free to reach out if you'd like to make an appointment to meet with me. I'll go back really quick to the veterans naturalization, just because I find it interesting. Another point on that is that it has a shorter look back period. I think it's like 3 years instead of 5. And the way that it has a little bit wider breadth for how you analyze criminal bars to naturalization. So, and the good moral character window. So, you know, if you are a veteran and you have not naturalized and you served in combat time, and maybe you suffered some of the medical issues, especially I know several, and I've represented several Gulf War veterans who have just had a really, really tough time since that war because of all the chemical damage and stuff that they were exposed to and physical damage that they suffered. And so they might not have known that you don't even have to pay a filing fee to file for your naturalization. And, you know, maybe you've had some other challenges or difficulties in your life since you've been out of the military, which is understandable. I really do understand that, and very empathetic and compassionate towards that sort of thing. So feel free to reach out to us if you want to have your case analyzed for naturalization. Knowledge is power. So if for any reason there is some reason why you cannot naturalize, we'll tell you. If you've been told by other people that you couldn't naturalize, but they didn't take into account that there are different rules and timelines, look back periods and all for veterans, and you want us to take another look, we'd be happy to do so. It would be an honor. So if you call on Veterans Day today and you're a veteran, I'd be happy to do a free consult with you, especially if this is related to your case. You're very welcome. You're very, very welcome. All right, so feel free to post any other questions. We've been getting great questions so far today. Thank you for everyone who has posted, and feel free to keep them coming. All right, let me see. I think I had another piece of information for you guys. Okay, let's see. Here's another question. Ed wants to know, to amend the I-921, I think you mean the 129. I'm not great with numbers. Oh, 912. Fee waiver? No, I think you're okay. Inadmissibility. That's all right. 192. Yeah. We got the right numbers, they're just mixed up in there a little bit. Okay, so you're asking if you need to amend it, do you have to pay again? I didn't include an inadmissibility issue on my form. You would not pay again, you would just ask for additional grounds to be considered. It's an interesting question because what I usually do whenever I file 192 is I list in the description of like what happened or what we're asking to be forgiven, and add a line in there about any other inadmissibilities that may be determined or discovered, you know, like, or come up late at a later date, because sometimes you forget about things or you don't realize that the facts of your history create additional inadmissibilities. So this is a challenging one because I don't think you need to pay for it. I think that what I would do is I would take an amended I would send in an amended form with the cover letter and ask it to be added to your file. So that's what I would try. Paying again is going to have you issued another receipt. I mean, I think it's going to make the file a mess. So yeah, I would amend the form. I would send it with a cover letter. I would send it with tracking so that you can prove that you sent it, keep a copy of it, all of that good stuff. So if you get a request for evidence or you get a denial, you could respond to the request for evidence or the notice of intent to deny with proof that you alerted them to the additional inadmissibilities and ask for those to be waived. Okay. All right. Let's see. One more question. It's about U visa bona fide determination procedure. Okay. Right. You want to ask another question, or is that the question? Because that's a little vague. So I guess I'll wait and see if you're going to ask a question about the U visa bona fide determination process. So for those of you who don't know, when you file a U visa, because there's such a backlog, that's the question. Because there's such a backlog, and they cannot process all the U visas that are filed, because there's like a 7 to 10 year wait because of the backlog. They can only process 10,000 U visas a year, right? So what they do is they review them and they decide whether or not this is likely to be approved and whether or not and send you notice of that. So you get a notice of bona fide determination, meaning that it's a good faith case. It's not in and of itself an approval, because an approval cannot be issued if there's not an actual visa or a number ticket in line that they can give you at that time. So with that letter, it's my understanding that you should now be able to try to get a work permit with the bona fide determination. So I hope that answers your question. If not, you can ask a follow-up. And for those of you, just speaking about U visas, for those of you who don't know, because Ed asked, when you file your U visa, a U visa you can also waive a lot of things. So if we have somebody that maybe has a permanent bar because they have multiple entries, or maybe they have a criminal history that would otherwise make them inadmissible, or they entered without inspection, a lot of things can be waived with that waiver when you file a U visa. Sometimes the waiver is more expanded than for other types of relief. So it's actually a really great option for a U visa is a really great option for a lot of people. It can help you to waive that stuff and have a path to residency. But in the meantime, when you have the U visa, you have a period of lawful status while you're present on the U visa. So it's pretty cool. It actually, comes like a paper like you're admitted to the United States, formally admitted. So it's a really great application. One of the best things about it is that it encourages people to come forward and report crimes rather than, bad actors targeting people without status because they think that they are too afraid to report the crime. So with a U visa, you have to get a certification by law enforcement, and different jurisdictions, like different counties or different police departments, have different perspectives and policies on U visas, like whether they will sign them, whether they will sign one that has been filed in court. Some police departments say they won't sign it if it's filed in court. You have to go to the prosecuting attorney. There's a lot of little policy things, but those policies are not law. They are not written into local law. So what you see sometimes is a local jurisdiction will not really be interested in processing U visas, or have an overly restrictive policy, and then the sheriff may change, or the district attorney may change, or advocates may get a seat at the table with a local sheriff or district attorney and be able to really explain the benefit of signing U visas and not having such restrictive policies. Because the fact of the matter is that a lot of times people can be so traumatized by the crime that was committed against them that they are not in a position to seek out legal assistance for immigration. They're just trying to survive and get through that incident that they're going through. So a lot of these offices will not sign things that are, you know, X number of years old. It's overly restrictive and it's unfortunate. So I think that there was a policy like that that was overly restrictive in, I think, like Austin, that recently was changed after a bunch of well-respected advocates got a seat at the table and really explained how great U visas are and the benefit to the larger community as a whole to process these requests. So, you know, if that's something that interests you, I think it's a really, really beneficial thing to talk to your local community leaders. It's very, very important. Okay, so let's see, we've got a few more questions. OBIM, let me think about some of the recent ones I've done. I feel like they've been, don't quote me on this because like I'm literally just throwing out what I think what I've seen, and this is not the gospel. I think about 6 months, sometimes less, depending on how complex the person's record is, but seems like they've been processing them pretty quickly. So I think that OBIM is a pretty fast one right now. Okay, and the president says, Mr. President, they say will help increase. Yes, I agree, but don't give up. Okay, don't feel sad because we're gonna keep fighting. U visa is still alive. So, all right. Okay, here's a spellcaster. This must be, I must be reaching incredible distances because we're getting some very interesting posts on here. So I think that's amazing. All right, thank you everybody for watching. And as we have in the comments, don't forget, an amazing time of the year. We're moving into the holidays. This is one of my absolute favorite things that our firm does, the Christmas with Kuck, Baxter. Christmas with Kuck, Baxter. I'm in Cook County in Adel, Georgia, and we also do a Christmas with Kuck, which is Cook County. But for our firm, we do a Christmas with Kuck, Baxter. That means we review cases to take on completely free. There is a handful of cases that we will select for people that have really compelling stories, cases, people who need help with their immigration cases, but have not been able to have the resources or the time, or something's gotten messed up because they didn't have the right legal counsel. We take on several cases completely free. Now, it's not unlimited and we can't take everybody's, we can't help everybody, but this is an amazing opportunity to get, if I may say so myself, some of the finest lawyers in the country to work on your immigration case. So look in the comments. There is an email address in there, which is Navidad con Kuck Baxter, which at gmail.com, which is how you apply. You can also look on our Facebook page and our website to see more details about how to apply. Basically, write us a letter and tell us what's going on in your case, what's going on in your history, how can we help, or do you even know? Maybe you don't even know what needs to be done in your case, but you know that you've suffered XYZ and you need help getting it fixed. All right. This is our favorite time of the year. This is one of my favorite things to see happen. I just love it. The families that we help, it's always such a blessing for us to be able to help. So Please feel free, English or Spanish, or any language that you speak. We can always translate your letter, Google Translate, but it might be good if you send your letter in English or Spanish, okay? All right, let's see. One last question, and then I've got to run. Got to get back to work. Cindy. Cindy says, what about first-time DACA? We are still seeing initial DACAs frozen, right? No movement on that. Remember that the Biden administration is attempting to codify DACA into law, and the notice and comment period, I think, finishes up November 29th. Once that happens, that may give USCIS the green light to continue to process initial DACAs. We just have to wait and see, all right? We got to wait and see on that. But as far as right now, those are all just sitting there. They say that they will accept initial DACA applications, but they will not process them. So they are issuing a receipt, but they are not adjudicating them. They are not moving them forward. DACA renewals and advanced parole based on DACA are still moving forward. Okay, well, thanks everybody for joining. It was really nice. Thank you for all the questions. I enjoyed being with you. I hope you have the greatest weekend as we head into, we're in fall, we're heading into the holidays. I hope that no matter what, whether your family is together or separated, that you're able to find some blessings in these holidays and enjoy them. So take care, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.